So, hello and welcome everybody to the stream. I hope you had a nice break. I had a nice break and I also needed it. Sometimes you just need to have some time off from something to have fresh wind and fresh ideas. And I want to talk about the future of the white belt because I actually enjoy quite a lot to talk to you guys. And as you've seen in the message, I've simply removed people who are never active, never joined one session, never wrote anything or whatever. So for everybody who got this free month, the month is over already. And I thought, what is really the cost for me to let people stay that are putting in the work? And you guys are putting in the work, you're motivated, and it's fun to work with you. And for me, it doesn't really change anything if there is a person more or a person less. I mean, obviously, if it's too much or too many people, then it's too many. But as long as this is not the case, and I got a feeling that the demand for trading related stuff is gonna go down with the market a bit. And so, as long as you guys have fun and as long as there is demand and you enjoy it, I simply let everybody stay that bought it once. And as I said, it's fun working with you guys. It's a pleasure to have you around. And so for me, it's not a lot of more work. Actually, it's not more work at all, simply because I'm just talking anyway, and it doesn't really matter if it's three, four, five, six, seven people. So you can simply stay as long as you wish, and I'm gonna remove everybody who's simply not active because then the group will be as small as possible, but everybody who's a core of this group can stay, as said. So, about the market, yeah, swing failure patterns. Let's start with this because I have this great example of Google right now because Victoria asked about swing failure patterns. And a swing failure pattern is kind of a little bit tricky to trade sometimes, depending on what time frame it's happening. And on this one, it's I look at the 8 hour because I see a lot of like good signs on the 8 hour, especially like swing failure pattern stuff. And so I really enjoy looking at the 8 hour for this. Gives me some kind of edge. And if I drop a little further down, you see it's simply one big green ass candle on high volume. So it's kind of hard to apply some, even on the 1 minute, it's pretty much just up only. So it's pretty hard to apply some kind of trend line stuff or whatever. But to me, this looks a little bit like an exit pump, considering where the market is by now. And I got stopped here, and I re-entered once I saw. You see, we have this 1 minute low here, and once this broke down, we broke market structure on the 1 minute, which is not like completely perfectly telling for anything, but at the same time, it was my entry signal for the swing failure pattern idea. And I always wait for some kind of signals. And in this case, for the swing failure pattern, it was on the 1 minute. We broke it down, and now it seems like we're going to retrace this pump because here is really no structure at all. So it seems like an exit pump, and every swing failure pattern is different. And this one is a quite aggressive one. Um, and also, if I look at the SPX, so these trade ideas on those stocks are mainly based on the SPX, and the SPX is starting to make lower lows and lower highs, and there's no denying about that anymore. We have lower low here, we made a higher high, but after this higher high, we made another. Not like here was not a perfect low low, but here definitely was a perfect low low. We had a swing failure pattern here and here, more or less, and here we made the low low, we broke the trend line. After this first sell-off, now another one. This is typical top behavior for the SPX. And so if the SPX is going down, I bet that the biggest stocks of the US are not doing that well. And I want to be short on those. I want to be a seller. And as said, I could also sell the remainder of my spot bag. I have 20% left. But at the same time, to me, it just makes more sense to make to open the short, and if the short gets stopped, my spot bag will cover the stop. And yeah, if this is playing, I'm printing here, and I can decide to sell the rest of my spot bag once structure is definitely turning against me, which would be a close below here in this trend line, and then I can decide to sell the rest, and it's still in profit, right? So makes like having a spot bag, building shorts, all this kind of stuff. You will see me doing this all the time, simply because it puts me in this great situation of It goes up, I win. It goes down, I win. And what else would I want in the market? So, swing failure patterns. I hope this explanation is enough, Victoria, once you watch the recording. Other than that, we can talk about crypto real quick. Um, I'm long on this higher time frame long. Where is it? Oh, I probably turned it off. Have I? Yeah. I'm still on this one, playing it wide. It's an 8-day level, so it's a higher time frame level. Giving this one room. I added today on lower time frame because we had this retest here, and I don't really like that we have this aggressive sell off on high volume this week here, not really making a higher high, and at the same time on high volume making a slightly lower low. Doesn't scream strength to me, and that's why I decided to cut this small little ad. Um, and I'm still on considerable size on this bigger one. But same here, once we lose the whole structure here and ETH is still far away from its level, because I think BTC will only really reverse once ETH comes closer to its level. Seems to me like that right now. Could have also been the other way around, so BTC is outperforming from here on. But this is not screaming strength right now. And I don't need this tight ad, rather managing my risk a little tightly here and keeping the wide one as planned. And yeah, so still prepared. Should it go higher? That's nice. And mainly, I see this whole idea here, even though it's an 8-day, I see this whole idea just as a higher time frame scalp as a hedge because I have this short from here and here. And to me, a counter trend bounce at some point makes sense, especially after we close below the structure. Many people will look at this. And so a bounce from here, attracting new buyers, makes perfect sense. Um, and so instead of selling from my short, I'm taking this long here, as usual, trying to prepare for both outcomes. And if we see further weakness, as said, I might want to cut my long short, um, and not take the full stop. But we will see. For now, I'm just accepting the risk, and if it goes down a little further, I can still reevaluate. So nothing to rush. Yeah, and as said, I'm still waiting for the ETH level here. I think we have like amazing confluence looking at ETH BTC. Um, will be very nice confluence, minus 14%. Yeah, means maybe BTC should be a little bit strong underneath here. Otherwise, if they go down the same amount, probably overshoot this level. We will see. Whenever this hits together, I'm a happy longer. Um, And other than that, yeah, I took the wheat long for everybody who's interested in this kind of stuff. Um, Wheat seems to break out here, scaling into this. Maybe we fill this little gap down here and I can better my average. But other than that, I'm trying to get in here in validation below. As usual, maybe a nice little wheat trade. Good. Crypto, TradFi, everything covered, swing failure pattern. I think these were the questions, and we had one big question. You guys were talking about like investment plan. And we can talk about this real quick as well, or we can also talk about it slow, because I think many people are like getting wrecked investing, more or less. They call it investing, but in reality, they buy shitcoins and hope for the best. And you can't trade, you can't invest those kind of things. You need to trade them because they are like the biggest trap of our generation. And without trading skills, people just get wrecked. And then they think like, okay, I need to learn trading to make it, and then they completely neglect the investing kind of side of things. While I think being an investor is the easiest way to make money nowadays, especially like looking at the current environment, stocks are still in. I mean, look at that. I mean, the SPX did 40% since April. So if you're investing and add a little bit of timing, this can create amazing returns most traders, most scalpers, and yeah, many people on X would dream of. And all that by simply buying this fear down here, somewhere down here, and it's a 35 to 40% return without any effort, basically. So it's really it could really be way easier for many people. Um, and I think, or my opinion is that 70 to 80% of the working capital we have should be locked into higher time frame investments. And I mean, obviously not right now. So I don't know. I would not put like 70% of my capital in here. I mean this with timing and should be correct, like 15 to 20%, which is technically a 15% correction is a bear market for the SPX. So 15 to 20% is a big correction. This is definitely when I start to scale into the SPX with huge amounts of my capital, and maybe even the Nasdaq. Who knows? We will see. And this money is like locked in for the next 1, 2, 3 years, depends. And now we come in, and then after a while we come to an inflection point, just like being brave within here. If you remember how many times there were reasons for selling and blah blah blah. Um, and being brave and just trading structure. And once the structure turns against one, like here, simply like taking huge chunk of profit or even on the way up already. So if the market is overheating, reducing like asset and building cash. And on the other side, if price is going down, the further down we go, we want to build asset and sell cash and reduce the cash quote. And I think this is a very simple approach, and you could do this like basically with 10 minutes time per week, once you have learned the basics. And other than that, like 30% of the capital is maybe then for trading, right? And then you can do stuff like that. For example, here in Google. So you think the market is overheating, and shorting the SPX is not that sexy because you need a lot of size to really build a position there. Because if it's just moving 15%, you want to like put in a lot of money to really get something out of 15%. And for many, this is just not like realistic. And then obviously something like Google, which might new 30%, is a lot more interesting. And still this idea is based on the SPX. And if I have a huge like amount of SPX shares, or like an ETF, I can still hedge it with like selling some of those assets or shorting them. And I said all of that with a very minimal time effort. And to be honest, most people came into trading or in the financial world to build more time and to have more time, yet they end up like staring at a screen most day all day long, thinking it needs to be hard all the time. And obviously, like with trading, you can increase your whole performance by a lot, but at the same time you can also increase your time effort by a lot. And especially in the beginning, where people like still work a day job and all stuff like that, it makes much more sense to build a foundational base of a higher time frame um, strategy, which you can easily execute besides all of your normal obligations, and then add trading on top if you got the time for it and if you got the nerves for it. Then you add trading on top. In my view, this is like the logical approach. And obviously, I'm just talking about the SPX here, but it's similar to the SPX. We can only also trade BTC if we have a higher time frame plan. We want to scale in down here, and then to the range high, it's already a 300% gain, right? And 80% of the capital should be locked in such positions, in my view. And for example, if you have 100K and you lock 80K into BTC and it does like 4x, that's a very nice return, right? And you don't need to do one single thing besides knowing when to buy and to sell. And you buy in high time from discount and you sell in high time from premium at the range high in this case. And then if it goes higher, great. You can do the same thing as with stocks, shorting up here, um, selling something, taking partial profits, all that, hedging yourself if it goes higher, great. If it goes down, great. This should be like everybody should have a plan for this, first of all, in my view, and then add everything that's really complicated and takes a lot of time and energy on top. And if you don't have a higher time frame plan, I think you're already missing out the easiest part of the game. And this is simply my opinion to trading and investing. And as said, um, I think many people making it harder than it needs to be simply because they got wrecked from altcoins, and so they think investing doesn't work. But obviously, like if you trade the biggest garbage on the planet, obviously, like if there is no real value, nobody will invest in this. It's simply a pump and dump scam asset that's only used to extract money. And many stocks are exactly this. So I don't want to say that stocks are really necessary, but if there is a real company, real value behind it, people will treat it differently than, for example, a meme coin or some utility coin that's promising something that's never going and they're never going to deliver and stuff like that. there's a big difference. So the SPX and all those major companies that really providing something, having products, earning revenue, they gonna get traded differently than something that has no real intrinsic value, and so you can handle it differently. But BTC is a solution at around 50K for big investments. Now he's gone. I'm not quite sure if I get the question. Mm, maybe he will be back. And he can answer my question to his question. Um, I think he means like if it's wise to buy BTC at 50K. A few sentences ago, he said he's driving a car. I hope he's still driving. Yeah, yeah, sure. Let me just, Tinox is back. Tinox, about your question, but BTC solution at around 50K for big investments. Is the question if you should buy BTC around 50K? Or what's the question? Yeah. Um, so I think we take it level by level. For now, we are still in this top range here. We have closed below this first kilo. We will probably head for this one real soon, in my view. And we probably like bounce from here a little bit. It's at least it's like the idea. And the 0.5 is here. Look, the 0.5 of this whole swing is here. So everything below the 0.5 is more attractive. And it's the same like with the SPX. Once we correct it, I mean, from the top, it's then already like 40%, but BTC usually corrects a bit more. So you could obviously start scaling in at around 50K. Um, but we have this demand here, and we have like a monthly double hidden and this big demand down here. And then it will depend on sentiment and all that. But there is no perfection. So once we head for those below 0.5 levels, so my plan, for example, is once we go for this area here, like the 40K, 45K level, which is then 65% already from all-time high, I will start to buy in small chunks. And the lower we go, the more I buy. As simple as that. Same with the SPX. The higher we go, the more I sell. The lower we go, the more I buy. And obviously, as said, I'm looking forward to buy here, best case, my biggest chunks below 30K. So my whole thesis about this is, so we lose 100K now, everybody gets bearish, maybe a little bounce. Next big thing is this year. Most people will consider this as bull market invalidation. The thing is, if we wait for this, it's already minus 44%. So we don't want to do that. Obviously, we want to sell up here somewhere and getting early signs of a structural shift. And at the same time, I think once this is lost, many get bearish. So we might get a little bounce from here as well. And I don't consider this strong because many will look at this as base and as strong and as super and whatever. And once we lose this low, losing 50K, losing this low, most people deeply underwater, over 50, 60%, or all the top buyers, many people will get bearish. And from this point on, it's all about sentiment. And from this point on, I want to be scaling in. Um, I'm a little bit fearful with BTC because monitor black swan hints. Yeah, I mean, as said, if the black swan is happening now and this is the driver into the sell-off, you need to be brave because like those kind of buying opportunities, they will feel like the worst. They will feel like the absolute worst, and everybody will tell you the world is going down and blah blah blah. Remember what it was here. Everybody was bullish all the way here, and then FTX crash, then everybody was like 12K next and world war and this and that and blah blah blah. And what was it? It was the bottom. And same here, we pumped up here. We changed higher time frame structure. And the thing is, you don't need to catch the falling knife. First of all, you can pull a trend line or something like that. And second of all, you have then here a structural shift, and you have another one. You make high highs, high lows, high highs, high lows, or here equal lows. And remember here, this is still a good buying opportunity. I mean, if you bought here, you would still up be like 360%. Um, but I remember here everybody was calling for 22K, and there was like this war in the Middle East and all that kind of stuff. And there was again another reason why I shouldn't buy. It always like once the black swan is in front of us, once everybody talks about it, the danger is already gone. You need to anticipate the danger before it's here. So right now nobody's really talking about anything like world dramatic, world's going down, outages, wars, whatever. Everybody's still like calm, but once everybody gets fearful, you need to be brave. So once the black swan is here, it's it's no black swan anymore. It's just a swan, and yeah. So where's the surprise then? And this is the sentiment we want to see, right? So the better sentiment gets, and the news and the worse the whole world situation looks, the better. And that's why I said like 50K might be a bit early, because if we go to this level, you're still down 40%. Doesn't feel that great probably. But at the same time, once we go for here, I'm gonna look for sentiment, and like uh, I will probably put in chunks like 10% of what I want to buy, 20% of what I want to buy, 80% of what I want to buy, and then I wait for structural shift or any signs that I add the rest of my size. As said, I don't need to catch the falling knife on the way down. I can also wait for structural changes. Okay, Andy, gonna I hear. Please.
Yo, hello.
Servus.
Can you can you hear me?
Yes,
Nice, servus.
I hope the other ones
Great.
as well.
Okay. Um, where do I start? So in my head, I'm a little bit still at work, so I might, you know, be a little confused at times, but I try my best.
No problem.
So
You want to pull up your chart?
basically, my chart, sure, sure. But first, actually, I wanted to go over the the high time frame investment stuff, maybe.
Hmm.
So I don't really have something to share there, just like the general approach, how I'm doing it. Um, so currently, um, since I started like learning how to trade like half a year ago and like doing my first actual trades in August, I don't really do those like let's say Google investments or like stock investments in general, because I don't really go into that with size yet, just because I want to scale up my trading account in batches, if that makes sense. So November, I basically started going up to a 1K account. So what I'm doing right now is, or have been for, I don't know, when did I start working? 3 years ago. um, uh, doing like those, um, yes, 60 to 70% of my salary goes into like those um all word ETFs, basically you could say. So while this m might not be the best approach, it still to this day seems to be the most reasonable one to just pump in money. Um So actually, that's not true. 60 to 70%. So there is a bunch going into ETFs and a bunch being cash. So and that cash I kind of build up to invest into those crashes. So in April, for example, I blasted, yeah, basically the cash I had. Not everything, of course, but a lot of the spare cash I had into my all word, for example. Yeah, exactly there.
Hmm.
And that was, I mean, really great, I guess you could say. That's basically the approach right now. Um, and Yeah, I've been doing this since I started working 3 years ago, and before when I was a student, I mean, I didn't really have much money, so it was like I think what was it like 75 euros per month I could spare, you know. I mean, that's been going on since 6 years total. 3 years being very low DCA money, and then yeah, the last 3 years being, I guess you could say, quite high DCA money. Um, but yeah, so that was my general approach, and still being the general approach. And well, I mean, I kind of left out the Bitcoin investment. So, but I talked about that a few sessions before. After FTX crashed, I was like, yeah, this is so low, I can buy it. But I had no clue about, that was just pulling out the dart and just throwing it in without any meaning behind.
Mm.
And but so that's the present right now, but the future kind of looks um like you described it, trying to get into stuff like Google. I'm getting better at charting, I'm getting more confident, but I still want to like build up my trading account in batches. So as I said, this month starts with 1K. So getting the psychological stuff like in batches, going with the flows sort per se. So the next step would be putting it up to like 5K, then 10K. I mean, with the Bitcoin investments, I guess you could say I have the spare cash to increase it gradually. And so far the performance looks good, but also I started out with $100 account, and I'm like, yeah, I don't give a shit about that €1 risk.
Mm.
To be fair, right?
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, the future is kind of want to do it like you said it, like getting those valuable stocks and getting like those yeah, kind of like meme coin pumps on high time frame key levels, I guess you could say. Um, but yeah, I mean, I guess just wanted to share that how I've been doing it, and I plan to do it in the future.
Yeah, I think your approach is pretty good because you started in the market with the easiest way, like just DCAing your capital in. And many people, as said, they are completely neglecting this part of the game simply because um, most start with altcoins or something like that, and then they burn their fingers and then they never touch it again. So starting this from this side is totally correct in my view, and then you increase risk and then you increase exposure and go down the risk curve a little bit more with more experience. And once you like the DCA approach might be good for somebody who is not really putting any attention into the market or any intention. But once you have like basic trading skills, DCAing is already like below your expertise. So you can start to refine your investment approach simply by waiting for larger corrections. And this doesn't really need to like look at this chart. Instead of like DCAing every single month, um, I would simply wait for like a 10% correction and then start DCAing as long as this chart is underwater. And with that, you increase your DCA performance already by a lot. And if you refine it further, time it even more. As said, if you, for example, time the bottom, even catch some shorts and then go long again, the returns become insane. And the skill always stays the same. So once you got the skill, you can apply it on every market.
Yeah, I mean, that makes total sense. But the thing is, like, so right now, why so right now it's the shift kind of goes more into saving cash versus, I mean, I guess you could say the relationship, the ratio from my DCA money is more on the cash side than on the yeah, mindlessly pumping the DCA money into that world index. So it's still around 65-ish%, 60, between 60 and 70, depends on how much money I kind of need per month. Um, but yeah, so the ratio kind of changes.
Mhm.
And that started when I was actually like trying to learn how to trade, and once I got, I mean, let's say 2 months ago. So it hasn't been that many months where I actually tried to like change the ratio. Before it was like, yeah, 2K into my index fund and 500 is the cash, and that was fixed basically.
Mm, mm,
And also another reason why I still kind of do this is because, I mean, the DCA money is more than double my trading account I use right now.
mhm.
So you know what I'm trying to get at? Like if I actually look for high time frame levels, which I find right now and I trade them, but on low size. And if I actually wanted to do like those meaningful investments, I couldn't really get into that with side. I could actually do it for practice, obviously, with the $10 risk as it is right now. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know if that makes sense what I'm trying to get at.
I think you should make a difference between leverage trading, which is in this case your 1K account, and
Uh,
higher time frame investments. Like this is what I mean by the SPX correcting more than 10 to 15% is technically a large correction for the SPX. And then you want to play with more size because those opportunities don't come around every single day. For this, obviously, you need a
mm,
macro thesis. And um it also for me, for example, the whole investment game is completely separate from my perp account. And what you do, for example, like playing the perp account with low size and being cautious is very wise, and like working your way up, adding zeros, doubling the account, or going to 5K once you feel comfortable is good because you learn the skill. Then you add pressure. You better get better in your skill. You add more pressure simply because the numbers get bigger. And this makes perfect sense, and this is the best way to do it, because if you like oversize from the beginning, first of all, you will simply burn unnecessary money, and second of all, you will create emotional baggage because you burn unnecessary your money. And this emotional baggage will then be around for the rest of your trading career, or at least as long as you worked it out. And if you don't even build it because you're smart and you're like you build you do the right stuff from the beginning, you will have it a lot easier. And if you continue your way like you planned it out, I think you're on the perfect way to make it work even better. Um, and in the long run. But as said, if you wanna earn money, and obviously you won't earn money from a $10 investment into the SPX, um, you at some point need to take a little bigger risk. So for example, if you get the 15 to 20% correction here, your invalidation is clear, right? So you have maybe a 10% stop loss or something like that. And obviously we have confluence and all that. And as said, for example, here, I mean, this was a quite aggressive volatile bottom, so it's not the optimal um um kinda example, but it is because we drop into this level, we made a lower high more or less, but then we made a higher low. So this is the first change of something, right? And then we made a higher
mm,
high. And even if you just enter within here, and so you, for example, you bought some here, maybe 50% of the size you want, and then it pumps, and then you're like, oh no, I bought too less, too few. Um, and then you wait for the small pullback and you add the rest of your size here, it's still a 30% return. And you increase your probabilities for this investment simply by waiting for a change of structure. And as said, this is usually always what I do also on those trades. But on higher time frame, it's even easier because everything is moving way slower. And your typical bottom doesn't look like this. Your typical bottom probably looks somewhat like this. And then we have this change of character. And then like for a very long time, nothing really happens. I mean, this is still 20%, but we really come back to retest here. And so, for example, if you bought some here simply because like the whole macro stuff and everything is telling you to, and then you get the first higher high, the real higher high here, and you wait for this kind of pullback, and you add the rest of the size here, it's still like within the bottom range, right? We usually don't go up like
mm,
this. I mean, this took a long time, so this was actually a year later. But within this year to this point, I mean, you would have missed maybe 15%. And if you put the same example on BTC, so you want to buy, and for example, I bought here for 20K and I bought on size, and then it nuked lower, so I bought a bit more, and I was just brave, and I was listening to the right people. Nowadays I would look at this trend line and say, okay, the trend is broken, and from this point on we changed trend, we changed character, so I could add the rest of the size here, and same story, I'm still adding all of my size at the bottom range, and obviously I still need to be brave because my stop loss still could get hit, but I mean, no pain, no gain, no risk, um, no gain in the market, no risk, no profit. And so at some point, if you want to make big money, you need to take bigger risks. And if you use the whole bear market, should one occur, and we get this move down, you can use the whole bear market to collect more experience, and then you will be very um what's the word, confident in your abilities, and then it's obviously also not that hard to risk more.
Yeah, makes sense.
And also, like once price goes really down here, for example, and you have maybe saved up like 10K or more, or 50K or whatever, like you don't need to put everything in at once. As said, you wait for a change of trend, but as said, statistically speaking, it makes a lot sense to buy a good amount of BTC here, a good amount of SPX here, maybe some gold here, um, oops, maybe some gold within here. And as said, there will be signs. It's not like we need to buy with closed eyes and we don't know what's happening. We can look at sentiment, we can look at price action at structure, at all that. Um, and yeah, as said, I mean, we are probably heading there in a year from now. And just think about what you learned in the last year, and then what you will have learned in the next year. Um, yeah, I think you will be a different trader by then anyway.
I'm actually kind of looking forward to that.
Yeah, and you're doing great anyway already. And as said, you mentioned risk tightly. This is like the most important stuff. And now you increase size. And it's like you said, like you don't really care about this $1. And this is exactly at this point you should think about sizing up if your portfolio lets you, because then you add
Yeah.
like pressure at the right point. So this is like like with weight training, right? At some point the weights get too light, and then you take the bigger ones.
What would you say? Like, I increased to 1K right now, so I actually have like some sort of plan mapped out, right? So, right now it's 1K, then by January I wanted to go to like 5K, and then sort of by April to like 10K or even more, but that was like my rough timeline because next year in April I actually will be doing that 4-day week we we discussed.
Mm.
Um, and I kind of wanted to like prepare for that in like a sort of risk adjusted way, in the sense I go with the flow, but also like those $10 per trade right now, I don't really give a shit about that. Would you say I should increase risk by then?
Uh,
Let's say if I did 5K now, I mean 50 probably would, maybe I would care. It's a nice dinner, right? um I don't know
So the thing is,
if yeah,
you should increase size when you feel comfortable with doing that, when
yeah.
so that it's not like changing your behavior and not changing your thinking and all that. Because
Mm.
so you set yourself a timeline, which is all right if it doesn't give you too much pressure. Because if you don't feel ready by then, and if it just like influences your performance in a bad way by increasing size, you should not do that, obviously.
Yeah.
If you feel ready, then this is maybe a good deadline. But I would mainly, so a deadline is good because it will like push you. You have the intention to make it to this point, and then you will like get there faster, in my view. But at the same time, um, it should not add too much pressure, and you also should simply only increase size if your statistics tell you that you should, so because if you then, for example, by then only losing money all the time, and your statistics tell you, okay, I have like whatever horrible 20% win rate, and I'm down 25% on my account, I think we both agree that you shouldn't increase size then. But at the same time, if you just
Yeah.
find consistency and if what you have now, I mean, your performance is kind of good so as far as I see, and if you can just maintain that and find consistency with that, you might even as well say earlier that you want to increase it because it's psychological possible for you and it doesn't influence your behavior by increasing it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think I stick with the 1K for now, see how I perform over, let's say, the next 6 weeks or something.
Mhm.
If I have enough trades, obviously, in those 6 weeks. We never know how many come.
Yeah.
Um, if if those, I mean, in 6 weeks that actually is January, so that would add up with my timeline. But yeah, always forget how far we are into the year already.
The year flew by.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, obviously would make sense. I mean, I will see on my statistics. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
So right now it kind of looks very good, but I also didn't have like big psychological manners in like entering trades, for example.
Mm.
And I also, what helped me a lot, maybe that's something for the others as well. Um, in the beginning, I don't know if it was in a session with you or with Albert. I was like, um, how could I do as much as there is in a mechanical way so I don't need to think about it? In the sense, what I wanted to do in the beginning is I just wanted to set TP targets. Whether they were perfect or not, I mean, obviously we don't get perfection, but I learned that by now. um, but like, I just wanted to have like a reasonable way to take TPs to not think about it, and stuff like that kind of helped me find consistency because now I can go back to those trades and I see, yeah, those were actually really good TP targets. So it was usually like the GP of the projected move. So that was my mechanical way um,
Mhm.
in doing that, and then setting the stop loss to 0 and to break even, and yeah, then have another TP, and the second TP basically gives me my sign to trail my position, and that was my mechanical approach, and that kind of helped me to actually, yeah, just not think about it. And by now I'm trying to like, and also limit orders. That was a big thing in the beginning. So that kind of helped me to not hesitate, put on a position if I found a good level. And so by now I'm going into more of like market orders and obs observing the levels in like yeah, when it hits. Obviously, if I'm at work or if I'm sleeping, like I can't do it, obviously. But when I can, I do that. And that was actually quite funny. I think I actually mentioned that SEC or Zcash trade I was in because last week I had Monday off, and yeah, the level perfectly approached with my Monday off, so that was fine. And I actually wanted to play that, and that play that in a sense. I'm at the charts, right? I want to play it, and there I actually had my first psychological or emotional problems because um, I had time, and
Time
I
to think.
kind of to exaggerate a bit. Um, I felt like I had to do something um, because I have this one day, right? And I took it literally. Obviously a little over exaggerating, but um, yeah. So I had that, and I kind of, it was a 4 hour level. So I kind of want to play it on that mid time frame, you could say, and I just went to that. Um, I kept staring at the 5 minute or 10 minute chart, whatever it was. Um, Obviously, my entry I did with a market order, and I think I did follow my plan on entering. That wasn't a problem at all. I just did it, but like observing the price action was kind of a problem, or I mean problem in the sense I kept staring at the charts and I didn't use that free Monday the best way I could have,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
because I had like this plan mapped out. I wanted to do X, Y, Z, and yeah, I I did, but not with like super focus. And I had really good learnings though, because I discussed this with Matt, and then I went back into checking old trades, and like price actually seemed to be similar every single trade. You had like obviously impulses, retracements, and I knew that before, obviously, but now it became understanding just because I went back to my journal and I had a different purpose to check out trades, right?
Mm.
Before it was like, yeah, I go back into my journal and I look at it. Okay, what was an issue? What was good? What was bad? And stuff like that. But I didn't really have a problem. And now suddenly I had this problem. So I could analyze all trades having a different point of view. And that, I don't know, that kind of made it click.
Mhm.
And I actually, on, when was that? Yesterday, when BTC hit that 89K level, or that 8-day level, I actually I kind of went late to work to to play a bit. I mean, I have flexible hours, so I didn't do anything stupid, obviously, but um, maybe I can share what I did and
Yeah,
how I
sure.
played something.
Sure.
So the 8-day level was a limit order I set just because price seemed to approach it right before I went to bed. I mean, obviously we don't know, but I set the limit order, and I mean it was a really good level. I hope you can see my screen. So um, that was that morning when it hit. So I was up around, I don't know, when was it, 5:30? I mean, was up a little earlier, but 5:30-ish, I went to the chart and I opened it. I saw my limit order was filled because I set it here at the top of that 8-day. With I actually had the same. I don't know if it's even okay. If it's here, but it was the 786. I kind of covered the 786 on it as well. But then I actually played around a little bit with the 5-second chart. Maybe a little too aggressive, but I was like, yeah, why not? Then I see this bottoming and like the strong impulse of that. And as we see, maybe I kind of called that a change of character, or like we saw like, okay, there's interest, it seems like. And then we have like this change of character, and I was like, okay, this might be something. And then I kind of pulled my fibs and kept on looking, and so I kind of had like this range marked out. We got back into the 0.5, which basically in my system I do right now, it kind of confirms, okay, we go back to the 0.5. This is like my range I look at right now. And so I saw like this impulse low, if you will, kind of aligns perfectly with the 786, and like especially on the euro dollar, I saw like swing failure patterns aligning, or like the retests aligning with a 786 or an 8x86, um, to be very, very promising. Um, as my data suggests, as of right now, it's not that many backtests, but that was like, that caught my eye, and I was like, okay, if we sweep those, that might be something. So we swept those. Okay, we go back into the 886, and I was like, okay, I might wanna long the retest of the 886, and we got that. And I also had like, I draw this curve. I don't know from who I saw that, but that kind of gives me a nice visual on like liquidity curve, I guess, whatever you want to call it. And I also had like this meme line, and I was like, okay, we had the retest of this 886 here. We swept like this purple line. We broke the trend line. The thingy here is not quite correct or updated, because I entered here on the break of the trend line. So it's more like this. Yeah. And I played this with the sense, okay, this is my range, right? So I want to play in the range. So I I took profits in this range, but also because we were in like this, we are in this high time frame key level, right? I kind of wanted to leave more open, even though I'm on this 5-second chart. I want to keep more open because like it could be a higher time frame thesis, right? And I had this reflection yesterday morning when I was on that chart. I really understood how the market is fractal, because if you look at this, this is the same shit on the 1-day chart, on the 1-week chart, whatever. It looks the same. Like this is, what is it? I think I measured it 700 something bars. Or when I was like, yeah, okay, this is 600, but like to the entry, it's like 1600. But imagine this is 1-day candles. Maybe it's a bit over exaggerating, but I mean, you could view that on like a higher time frame as well, and you see the same shit there.
Hmm.
And that was like, damn, I just got this. And like last week with the mental stuff regarding that Zcash play, and now with like looking at this chart and like, okay, this is the same shit on the 1-day chart. Just here it's in a span of 3 hours, and on the 1-day chart it would be like a span of a year or something or more. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of had like, I have like these frequent occasions where like knowledge turns into kind of understanding, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Totally.
And that's actually quite cool. I like that.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And like if you can handle lower time frame stuff, the like you said, the same stuff you saw here maybe takes a month, a year, or whatever on a higher time frame. So if you can handle it, and if you um learn something from this, this is like amazing stuff. As said, low time frame can be an incredible teacher, if you can handle it. So great.
You know what? Yeah, you know what I did here. So this pull of my long level, this is sort of, I mean, correct in the sense that if we lose this low, this is my invalidation where I want to cut. So since my trading account is a little over 1K right now with the profits from this month, I didn't really risk $10 on this one. It was more like if I cut here, I lost around 0.2 R, something like this.
Mm.
Um, so $2 in that sense. So since this is like a scalp below time frame idea, and yeah, that was the the only thing. It kind of felt reasonable. I didn't do it because I was fearful. It was more like, yeah, this is reasonable for me.
Yeah,
Maybe
obviously.
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I was fearful, but I don't think so.
If you
Um,
look at the stop loss, how tight is the stop loss? It's not even percent, or what
yeah,
is
it's
it?
point 5 or something. Yeah, 0.49. So
Yeah,
I
and
was
you
like,
need
yeah,
to
I'm not gonna do the €10 here.
and
Yeah.
you need to consider like on lower time frames, such wicks can occur at any time very quickly, and then you might even get you pay even more than the stop because your stop doesn't get filled, and then you get maybe even liquidated if you play on high leverage or stuff like that, and the probability is lower, and you basically execute on lower time frame. And if I do that, I also reduce size, even though it's in a higher time frame level. The tight ads always get a little less risk simply because it's still a tighter stop loss, and so the risk of getting stopped is higher.
Yeah.
Makes total sense.
Okay. So that's how I did it. And then right before I left for work, or wanted to leave for work, we went into this the range high retest. And as you see, I draw that meme line here as well, and I wanted to head short here. Not closing the long. I just TP'd on the long. Um, but I also wanted to head short, and like I got my trigger here. Like we swept this range high, we retested it, we broke the trend line, and I entered. I'm just here in replay mode because otherwise we wouldn't have gotten to that thingy on the 5 second chart.
Hmm.
Um, and then right here, I had a tight stop. I didn't do it like on the level below where my stop actually was right above here, so I would lose my 1R on such uh, uh, far away. Um, I actually had to leave for work, so I kind of wanted to keep it tight, but only risking $2. So there I actually just did $2, and I was like, yeah, okay, either my stop loss gets hit or it doesn't. And I set an auto TP here as well with like projected fibs because like the target here was my range low again. And I mean, as we know now, I got stopped on this one, but I'm perfectly fine with it because um, I mean, I kind of wanted to test that 5 second chart. Maybe it was a bit too fast, but this is the same trigger I would have taken on the 1 day chart, to be honest. So I was like, yeah, I just have to take this bet because it's my trigger, it's my system. I need to get data. I need to see like after 100 trades if my system is shit or if it's not. So yeah, I took this, but I got stopped eventually. And those were those two like low time frame trades that were actually not forced. They were done by a system yesterday morning. And what's actually very cool is because that's also why I brought up the Zcash play. I just let it play out. I wasn't like, obviously this is a 5 second chart. Obviously I was staring at it, but I wasn't like, oh god, when do I press the sell button? When do I press the buy button? You know, I was just super chill, and I think that that one play last week with Zcash and like going over my old trades, it just gave me peace of mind, to be honest. And yeah, so there's that. I guess
Great,
that's enough of a monologue from me.
great stuff.
Uh,
Great stuff. I think it's very valuable for other people as well, and very valuable for you, especially. Nice. Thank
I
you for
hope so.
sharing.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
And I remember a time when I did exactly this kind of stuff, trying back to back. And I remember when I had like a triple in a row, like something like that, range low, long on something like the 1 minute, then short at the highs, long at the lows again, and all three played out, all three full TP. And I remember being in a group with some other traders, and it was like hitting, like winning the world championship or something. I felt like, and these are the moments. And it was like on $5 or $3 per trade or something. So in the end, I didn't make shit like from a money perspective, but the gain in experience is like incredible with stuff like that. And if you can handle that, and if you can keep your risk tight and see it as a learning process, like you said, taking 100 trades, seeing if your system works, learning all that, amazing stuff. Really, you're in a good path.
Thanks. Like that's the thing, right? Like it's a process we learn, and like if we're gonna have like a great system, like money will come. I don't need to force money right now where it can't be forced in the beginning, right? I
Exactly.
mean, yeah. So
And
no,
the
it's
money will
great. I
come.
mean,
And you will see, even with the 1K account,
uh,
the money will become real now, because with a $10 risk, you may hit a 5 hour trade at some point. It's $50 already. $50, like you said, is a nice dinner, and all that, and then you will see, okay, nice. But it will also bring you new challenges, because once you see, oh, that's a nice dinner, it's obviously then okay, I want to have a nice dinner tonight, maybe, and stuff like that. Um, and then in the end, once you have your system, once you like be disciplined until you have your system, you just add a zero at some point, or you just like 5x your account, and you're still doing the same thing, and then it's like, okay, I'm gonna risk this dinner now, and best case, I'm gonna maybe uh whatever, what do you get for $250? I don't know. I get like
uh,
my car fuel or whatever whatever it is.
yeah,
And at some point you will meet your goals, you will be confident, and like you said, you have a certain time frame where you want to increase. If you then meet your goals, you can to increase your size if the goals are met. And then at some point you will simply just start to make money from trading. You don't need to force it, because if you just go your path like you have planned it out, you will eventually just simply just start to make money. And for that, you don't need a 100K account. I mean, in Germany, life is expensive. I know, but for example, if you're able to trade a 10K or a 20K account or something like that, and you risk $100 per trade, and you hit the 5 hour trade, that's already a nice salary for the week. Um, and obviously, I said life in Germany is expensive, so you might need a bigger account. That's why many people go to prop firms. But I don't know how big your portfolio is, but as I said, with a solid 50K account or something like that, and then higher time frame investments and stuff like that, you can already make a great living. So there are not millions needed, or hundreds of thousands.
yeah. So so I could, I mean, let's not talk about numbers, but I mean, I could increase it so I could be set if the system works. And so I kind of did that like calculation as well, like with next year being a 4 day week, I would like net on my hand it would be around minus 600. So let's say I do like 6% on a 10K account, I would always already be break even.
Exactly.
And um yeah, so and you know what I also did, that what we did like before the break when we talked about that 4 day week stuff. I mean, the next session I had with my boss, I straight up went to him and I told him I want to do this, and yeah, we came to a conclusion that was pretty good for the both of us, I think. And I also am on sabbatical leave for October, November, December next year.
Hmm.
So the idea was in my head. Obviously, I didn't tell anyone, but the idea was like to do this full time, and during that time to actually see, is that something for me to do it full time.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's sort of like the plan. Yeah,
Exciting times ahead, I'd say.
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Thanks for sharing all of this. Um, I've seen
Thank you.
Aristo is also with us now. Hi, Aristo, by the way. Any questions? Anybody want to say something? Show something?
Anything, I think. Like that was the stuff I wanted to talk about today, and I don't really have anything else
Yep.
prepared.
Yeah.
So,
No problem. No problem.
yeah.
I would find something for the last 15 minutes, but if somebody has questions or stuff like that, I think we can make time for this. You're welcome, my friend. Um, yeah, works a mess. Yeah, nice, Mister. 2%. That's good. Yeah, lots of small wins, lots of small losses. I would say lots of experience. That's good. And even in profit. So win, win, win. You want to talk or you want to write? So if you have to say more, then let's talk. Okay, Andy, thank you again. I'm gonna move
Thank
you
you for
back.
having me.
Let me check here. Yes. Bye bye. Okay. Now you're 2 times in the audience, Andy.
Hey, hello.
Hi Aristo. Where's the oh my god. If you want to share your screen, just let me know. If you just want to tell
Mm,
us, you can also just tell us.
I, yeah, I share my screen just for you, just to to show you guys what I've been up to. It's been a little hectic these weeks. Um, Something that I don't like is that I've been taking trades, but I haven't been journaling them, and I hate it. But it's been a lot. So I'm just trying. I've been all over the place honestly when it comes to trading too. So I feel a little frustrated because um, I first I think that I have a strategy and it works, but then literally it goes to shit. And like things that I thought it would work and I was um, very confident about the trade that I would take. It just doesn't work and I get stopped up, which is like crazy, like not even just a small like a price trying to like to hit the level that I wanted to do a small rebound. No, it just destroys me. And there's some others that they work, and then I try low time frame, then I try middle time frame, then I try high time frame. I go forex, and then I go stocks, and it's just a lot. And then you go to like Twitter, and then you see different strategies, and then you want to try something different, and I'm like, okay, this is not how it has to be. I need to be focused, and I need to stick to one strategy.
Mm.
So the last couple of days, I've been focusing a lot in literally just supply demand, but also I'm having difficulties on like how to play hidden order blocks or breaker blocks when they're close to supply and demand.
Sorry, one
So
question. Can I interrupt you real quick? Do you share your screen already?
yeah.
You do because
Oh yeah,
I
yeah, yeah, sorry.
I can't see it.
I'm not, I cannot share the screen. If I try to click on the button, it says, well, it's blocked pretty much.
Yeah, I think something weird is going on because I can't see the window anymore. Show requests.
Well,
Uh,
maybe. Just give me one
because
second.
ever since they moved Andy to the audience, now I have two Andys and I don't see our conversation anymore. And I don't know why.
Yeah, I did two handles too. Select your screen. Okay, I would be able to. Wait, what's going on? What if I would
Ah,
be
no,
able?
yeah, I just changed the channel really quick. I think it should be okay. So if you share your screen now, we should be maybe able to see it. Um,
Yeah,
oh, you
I'm gonna
can't.
share my screen. Um, Give me one second. I need to pick the window or screen, and it says the screen 1, 2, 3. So I don't know which one is it. So we're just gonna go with it. If you see any private information, we may have to edit the video. Oh no, wait.
As long as it's no
Give me
nudes
one
from
second.
you.
Okay, I think we're good now.
Yes.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Well, so I'm into this trade right now. I've been doing forex because honestly, one that's been set up, and with my account for interactive brokers, I still can short. I cannot short, and I want to have everything well set up. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go with on that. So, well, I'm in this trade right now in which it is a lower time frame. There was 3 hour and 3 hour partially um, like hit on block, partially hit. Um, so far so good. That's literally what I try to do all the time. Well, in this case, it hit a partially hidden block. I had a wider SL to, I think there was a other block close to, oh no, it was the FIBO. So I was trying to cover the FIBO, the FIB, sorry. And then I already took around 50% of my profit here. So that was good. And overall, I'm targeting these lower. I think these are that now it's going to be resistance. I feel like. Um, well, resistance, no. Um,
Support.
that's going to be support. Yes, thank you.
Mm.
So I'm trying to target for that. I could also try to go all the way down, but I'll see. Overall, it looks like this. And it's ranging, so I'm gonna use that as an scalp. So that's pretty much what I've been trying to do. I've been trying to find hitting all the blocks and within supply or demand zones, and that's how I've been playing so far. For now, I'm just hopefully just gonna go like probably I don't know what it was, probably around here. But yeah, I took 50% of it, so it's even break even already the trade, so that's good. If I get it stopped out, so be it. I'm fine with it. But that's what I pretty much wanted to say. Not more like related to um, technical analysis, but more regarding the way I'm doing things, in which I think I need some kind of improvement. I started my account with 100, and as of now, I'm at 201.54. So literally just nothing, and that's been like 2 weeks so far. Um, as you can see, this is my account summary, and I need to journal all of that, in which I haven't done it. So I took a couple of trades. Uh, there's some of them that I really liked. Uh, I think this one was a nice trade back in November 13th. But as you can see, it just now I'm putting a lot of work. I'm putting a lot of time, and dude, sometimes you just get tired, man. I'm not gonna lie to you, and I'm like, wow, like that's a lot, and I'm loving it. Don't get me wrong, but like I think, and that comes your expertise and also like a mentor for me. Um, I feel that I need to find some consistency, and I think I just need to stick to one thing, right? But then I don't understand when I'm taking trades that they work and sometimes they don't work, and then I just get, I get a little bit overwhelmed, honestly.
Mm. I mean, it's probabilities, right? And you play a lot of mid time frame stuff, and so you will take a lot of trades, and mid time frame probabilities are simply lower than higher time frame trades. Um, you need to live with that if you want to do that, and you can also just reduce the amount of trades by simply only taking higher time frame trades, right? And especially
Yeah.
what I would recommend, because you also said work is a mess and it's pretty stressful right now. I would recommend
Uh-huh.
to you reducing like your trading to a limit, to an amount which is still comfortable, because once it starts stressing you out and you collect emotional baggage, and also your life won't get easier and your trading won't get better from that. So try to keep balance. You don't need to take trades all the time to learn. You can also sometimes just put in time to study instead of taking new trades all the time, because taking trades takes a lot different kind of like emotional discipline, or emotional energy, or a
Mhm.
general energy from you, than just simply like reviewing old ones. And instead of taking new ones, you said you cannot like journal all of them because you take so many. Maybe it's time to take a fewer trades, but like reflect on them a bit better.
Okay. Um, I agree. I agree. I think that's the way to go. As you said, I feel like if I don't take trades, I'm not like improving. But at the same time, what I could do is just literally take my time to, first of all, go high time frame trades, and then go back to all the trades that I did and try to understand why ones work and why some others didn't work.
Mm.
Um, and then also when it comes to studying, I could like, and that's probably like an obvious question, but like by studying it means, for instance, I don't know, going to your Twitter, your X account, and try to decode what you've been doing, for instance, or literally go to like the MMA and there's like a lot of graphs that you've with the analysis that you've been posting. So it's kind of like redoing that, right? Because
Mm.
like sometimes I feel like I watch videos and like supply and demand on YouTube, and it's just like from random people. But then I detect that the way some people talk, like kind of like um, confirm when it's supply or demand, it's different from someone else or like from you. So like I don't even know like which one is the right path. So I feel like what's it? I'm guessing my question is what's your suggestion in terms of like studying? Like you already know a little bit my level, so I'm getting started. I was paper trading for probably half a year, and now I just like have a small.
Mhm. I'd say focus on fewer things and like make them your.
Uh,
Oh, you're lagging? Is it just me?
you liked a little bit, but I think you're back.
Okay, you're both back. Okay, I didn't get the rest what you said.
I'm just pretty much saying that you already know a little bit like what's my level. So yeah, I would really appreciate any suggestions in order for me to like kick back and keep up and try to find consistency, and also in terms of studying. Like, what do you suggest it would be best for me?
I think you should like find one strategy that feels natural, and you obviously got one like the breaker block and supply and demand and this kind of stuff, so stick to it and just simply execute it. You don't need to necessarily add more and more information, more and more complexity, because as you see your strategy works already. Now it's time to make it yours, make it like work for you, and also get data. So like execute the strategy, collect data, and see what things you could improve, or maybe even like after a sample of 50 to 100 trades, you say, okay, this is not the strategy I want to trade. But this is simply just now, it's simply just a consistency, and also not looking too much for the big secret, which makes it all easy, because in the end, it's all probabilities. You can trade 10 different strategies. In the end, you will never have certainty on a single one. If you want to have better certainty, higher certainty, stick to higher time frame, and take fewer trades but
Okay.
higher quality trades. Because then, for example, my stock win rate is probably, by now it's probably 75% or something, which is a very fun strategy to trade, right? If the win rate is only 50%, it's still like a nice strategy. If you have the right R for it, it's still profitable, but it's obviously way less fun. So I always aim for higher win rate and for higher time frame plays, because it also gives me more time for my life. And like you said, you have like stress on work and all that. So maybe go more for higher time frame stuff, increase your probabilities, and simply stick to your system and keep on executing, keep on collecting data, and the rest will solve itself. You're already on a good path in my view.
Okay. So when it comes to study, um, it suggests study my traits, go higher time frame, but like in terms of like concepts, or in terms of like, because I feel like I understand supply, I understand demand, I would say I understand the hidden order blocks. um so in terms of material that I can go through, or like in terms of like I just feel a little bit lost when it comes to like studying. And obviously like any suggestion, also Turbo like saying something.
Studying.
But yeah,
So for example, it depends on like what you want to learn, because as I said, I think your understanding of the chart is already quite well. Um, for that, it's simply also collecting experience on your own chart makes a lot of sense. And so, for example, if you trade a strategy from somebody, it makes obviously sense to learn from this somebody. So, if you, for example, use the Money Tower Edge now with the breaker blocks and all that, it makes sense to apply his knowledge by looking at his posts and his stuff. If you want to take anything else, want to trade anything else from another person, obviously, then look at this person. And then you have like concepts, like you said, supply and demand. Everybody is looking at this a little bit different, and this is what I said, what I meant by making it your own. So you take something you learn from, like, let's say 3 4 5 people, and then making it your own, and making it feel natural and all that. And this just comes by time and experience. And as said, the feeling you have by, if you don't take trades you won't learn, is just this feeling we always like get imprinted from school on. We need to do something in order to feel like worthy, or we feel like we
yeah.
really achieve something.
Yeah.
But in reality, trading is often rewarding the opposite. Like the more patience you have and the more calm you are, and also the trades you don't take are often as big as of winners as like taking too many trades at once.
Mhm. That makes sense. Thank you. Yeah, I'll stick to that. I'll stick supply demand. I think it makes sense to, for instance, like go over all charts, especially the ones that you made, because I learned supply and demand literally from you. So like that's something that I could replicate, and also go back to my charts, understanding my charts, and go higher time frame. At the end of the day, yeah, just try to stick to it because sometimes I I try looking at different strategies and then you get into like completely, different ones, and I don't think it makes any sense.
Yeah,
But yeah, try to. I'm assuming it's just things into.
and going to a different strategy also will not give you certainty, because we tend to get frustrated if a thing doesn't work. We want to look for something else that works better. But in reality in trading, the reality in trading is simply that you always will have uncertainty and you always will face losses, and sometimes a few losses in a row. But that's why we manage risk. And a good trader simply sticks to the same strategy. And I think also a big point, like you brought this up from in the beginning already, and you also wrote this in the chat last week, that work is stressing you out. And if you have a phase like that, private issues, work, whatever, don't push too hard. It makes sense to be consistent, to stay consistent with your trading, but don't ruin the fun. And also, like consistency over burning out. Because if you push too hard, you won't believe how many people I talk to which need to take a break because they completely burn out because of work, family, and trading, and they try to make everything work at once. And so scale it a little bit down until work is like settled again, and then you can like push more into trading because you have only limited energy. And if you put too much at once, you will burn out. And like burning out is like for an athlete, if you break your leg before the season, you fall out the whole season, you miss a whole season. That's definitely worse than simply going a bit slower. Are we gone again?
In which I thought I had. I'm cutting off.
I think I didn't hear like the first 15 seconds. Sorry.
Okay. No, I was saying that thank you for that. I think that I really like needed this conversation. Um, I work on that, and as you said, no burning out is it shouldn't be there. Um, I enjoyed going through charts and like decoding and placing orders and learning. And these couple of weeks has been just like damn, I need to kind of like force myself. So I think like I just gotta like chill out a little bit. As you said, go like more high time frames. And also I was mentioning what Turbo said about having like a set of rules that I can just like execute pretty much.
Now you're gone again. Yeah, for me too. Aristo? Yeah, seems like. Aristo. I think we lost him. Yeah. No, we don't hear you. But you can write, which is strange. It seems like we get this ETH entry real soon. Nope, we can't hear you, unfortunately. Maybe I put you back to the audience and then bring you back, invite you back. Hello? Nope. We can't, unfortunately. Yeah, that's weird. Probably some Discord stuff again. Hmm. Maybe you leave the whole like stage and then you join back. Yeah, I also reduced my ad. And if we don't see strength here real quick, I'm gonna also close the higher time frame one. Simply because I think then it's the ETH level that will guide us. And maybe BTC down to 80, 82 range low, somewhat like that. Aristo, maybe you leave the whole stage and then you join back. Maybe that's helping. Can you hear me? Yeah, same. And also like ETH, I was hoping for them to hit together, but doesn't seem that's the case. Can Aristo can't hear me as well as it seems. It's gonna be a night ETH long, I guess. Looking forward. Do we have any like news why this is happening, or get we still like do we still get bombarded by bullish news, bullish crypto news? Why it's a good idea to buy? Yeah, I guess Aristo we can't really make it work. I'm also not sure what's happening, but I'd say we wrap it up if that's all right for everybody. I don't know. I'm not even sure if you can hear me. It doesn't really seem that way. Yeah, I see that you can hear me, but hmm, Aristo's lost somewhere in the ether, I guess. You're also hearing me. Aristo, can you hear me? Sui. Not looking at Sui. Hello, Aristo, can you hear me? No, I don't think so. Okay, guys, then I would say we wrap it up. Um, mhm. Yeah, I'm not so much interested in altcoins. I mean, obviously, if it hits with ETH together, might be something good. Might be something good. But it seems like all risk is nuking right now. I think we're gonna get like some kind of bearish news. Maybe there are big outages in the US and that's why we can't hear Arista anymore. We see your messages, yes. Because if I look around, stocks are nuking. Gold is retracing its whole move from today. Yeah. Okay, guys. Thanks for joining in. Was a great one, I think. And we talk on Saturday. I'm gonna do a poll for the time. And other than that, I wish everybody a great week. Let's hope we get the ETH level soon. All the best. Bye bye, guys.